Hello, hello. Welcome to this week's Quicksilver Quick Chat. This is for week 8. Um, as you probably know, we were on a break this week for games, QRLS. So next week will be week 9. This week, no games. Had a couple events though. That was pretty fun last night. May have watched. We can get right into the games though. Pretty eventful week last week. We can look at the matchups here. Week 8. Let me there we go. There we go. All right. So first matchup I'm looking at here, Hammerheads Kings. I'm a member of the Hammerheads, so I can kind of talk a little bit into that. Going 4-2, way to the Hammerheads. Good match for them. It's gonna put the Hammerheads in a really good spot in their division, so big match there. Especially since the Kings are in the same conference as them. Yeah, wanted to say fake news. I don't know. I don't know. No, it was a good series though. It was definitely competitive, and Kings did end up taking one game, so still a good showing for the Kings there. And they still could make playoffs, so getting those 2 points could be big for them. After that, we got Astros Sappers. So I was not able to see this game, but actually, it seems like it was a really good showing from Astro, and I think I saw Reserve Wolf. One of the Sappers players said something about how Astro is playing great, and I believe it. 3 points to them. So ultimately, Sappers still taking the series. They've really proven themselves this season as a top team. I believe they're number 2 in points right now, just behind Clarity. I think they're sitting on like 36, something like that. So yeah, they Sappers have been a force to be reckoned with this season so far. And yeah, gonna get another win against the Astro. But 3 points to Astro, good showing by them. Um, they haven't looked the greatest this season compared to previous seasons. Astro, they're kind of, I mean, honestly, they're pretty much like the best team ever to hit the QRLS seasons wise. They have 3 championships to their name. They've only been here since I believe season 5 was when Astro got founded, so they've won like most of the seasons they've participated in, which is kind of insane. Let's see. Mustangs Rangers. I did watch this game, and yeah, Mustangs 6-0 getting the sweep. That is actually massive. Because Mustangs are a team that could make the playoffs. So, I mean, we'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide, but huge win for Mustangs getting the sweep over Rangers. I mean, Chop Jr. played amazing throughout that. All the Mustangs played amazing, but he really stood out to me as the MVP that series. Speed Demons Vibe Clan. It's gonna go the way of Speed Demons 4-2. Good win for the Speed Demons. Speed Demons, I believe, are knocked out. Or no, I mean I know they are knocked out of the playoffs race now. So not really gonna matter too much for them getting those points, but good to show that they're still like a competitive, strong team. And yeah, that is a big loss though for Vibe Clan because they were competing against Kings and Bleacher Boys, and some members of the calculated division for that last fourth playoff spot. And I think they still could get it, but this loss is going to make it way harder for them. After that, we've got Three Rocketeers Bleacher Boys going 3-5, so 2 overtimes there, which really good for those two teams getting those overtime points. But yeah, so Bleacher Boys able to win that series, get 2 of those games. Rocketeers still getting a game. That was a really competitive series. I do remember. I'm pretty sure I watched that one. And yeah, both teams. So those are two really top teams. Interestingly enough, they are competing against each other. because they're not in the same division, but they're in the same conference. So yeah, that was a big win for the Bleacher Boys. Puts them in a good spot. Next, Armada beat Sappers 4-2, or not Sappers, beat Spectres 4-2. Yeah, and Armada, they're currently under Cyclones in their division, but still sitting pretty good. So those 4 points going to be big for them. And then it's Clarity United getting the sweep 6-1 against Arctic Assassins. Arctic Assassins, though, still getting the 1 point with because of an overtime game. So yeah, that's pretty rough for Arctic Assassins since they were competing. I mean, they still are. They're competing against Hammerheads and Three Racketeers for that first place spot in that division. So this pretty rough week for them. Did allow Hammerheads and Rocketeers to gain some points on them. But yeah, and Clarity United, they are the number one team in the league right now. I believe they're on like 40 points now, so just insane. And yeah, able to get another win, a sweep, in fact, against Arctic Assassins too, which is, not like Arctic Assassins are a really solid team, so getting the sweep against them is very impressive. I did not mean to click that. One more match before we go on to that next screen is the Cyclones and Elite Inc. So great showing by Elite Inc. actually in this one. They were able to get 3 points, big for them. And yeah, Cyclones though were able to take it 4-3. So they got two of those games. One overtime point going over to Elite Inc. And yeah, Cyclones, they are another top team, top of their division. So this is pretty much confirmed their spot in the playoffs now after this win. I mean, maybe if they lose like both their next games, but even then, I'm not sure if they could get knocked out. Move on to the rankings though here. Look at these divisions. So only 2 weeks left in the season. Keep that in mind. So each of these teams, there's only really so many points on the table. So now this is really where we gotta kind of look and see who can make playoffs, who can't. Looking at a calculated division, things to know. Pretty much Speed Demons at 13 points. They are knocked out at this point. Yeah, they're gone. They cannot make the playoffs now. Uh, you know, had some good games this season, but ultimately not able to get enough points to be up there, especially since the three teams up against have all been, they've all had successful seasons. So you can talk about the other three teams: Three Racketeers, Hammerheads, and Arctic Assassins. So Three Racketeers and Hammerheads both tied at 32 points for that first place spot. So yeah, calculated division is definitely one to watch because I mean, really, Hammerheads and Three Racketeers and even Arctic Assassins, they're 5 points below, but depending on how these next couple weeks shake out, they could take back that first place spot in the calculated division, get that playoff spot. But even besides that, even that second place team and even the third place team could make playoffs depending on how Savage division shakes out. Because so Savage, it's Clarity there obviously they've actually made playoffs by now. I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's confirmed now at this point that they're in the playoffs. At 40 points. I mean, they're number one team in the league, so they're one to watch out for. But yeah, really, one thing to watch: Bleacher Boys, Three Rocketeers, Hammerheads, Arctic Assassins. Those four teams are all kind of competing against each other at this point because realistically, it's going to be three of those four teams plus Clarity United is probably going to be who's in the playoffs. So that'll be interesting to see. But that's not to count out Kings and Vibe Clan. Kings and Vibe Clan, I mean, I'm trying to do the math in my head right now. They could. They're not out yet, barely. So if Kings and Vibe Clan can sweep both of their next weeks, and then depending on how the other games go, they could do it. So we'll see how that shakes out for them. Epic Division, Sappers. I mean, Sappers are the clear leaders of the Epic Division, so they're going to be going in there for playoffs pretty much no matter what how these next 2 weeks go. Um, and then after that, though, it's actually really competitive. So in the Epic and Sick, it looks like it's likely going to be Sappers, Cyclones, and Armada are kind of the three teams that have like a pretty clear lead. Um, but then after that, it's really like anyone's game because I mean, even like Spectres to Astro, there's only a 7 point difference, which I mean is a pretty big difference, but it's not so big that Astro could be that fourth team that makes it in. Um, but it's gonna be rough for them at the 15 points. But really, Mustangs leading it at the 24, Astro at the bottom there at 15. But any of those six teams could make it in there, or five teams could make it in there. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they play against each other and how that goes. Very competitive race to the playoffs this season. We can get right into our players of the week though now. Looking at it, we've got Kip Taro from the calculated division. Just really strong player. He's putting up 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 saves. And he's honestly he's putting up stats like that pretty much every week. I believe this is his first week this season as the player of the week, but he has been, in conversation for it every week, really. That man is just a beast whenever he's on the field, so yeah, he's gonna be it this week. And then we got Alex, 3 goals, 3 assists, 7 saves. I mean, he's been on here like twice before already. Um, I mean, everybody knows him. He's kind of just a constant MVP, and yeah, big part of why Clarity United is the current #1 team in the league. I'd say yeah, he's going to be Player of the Week for Savage Division this week. Epic Division, we've got Squiddy D with 1 goal, 2 assists, 6 saves. The stats might not look quite as high as the other ones, but his in his game it was a little bit more like just low scoring, like classic kind of fundamentals. It seems back and forth, like lower scoring, more defensive style game. And so yeah, you can see that with the saves there, just popping off on defense. And yeah, did get his team 3 points in that series against the Cyclones this week. And then last for the Sick Division, we've got Chop Jr. with 4 goals, 1 assist, and 10 saves. Yeah, just an insane amount of saves and some good goals as well. Yeah, was Chop Jr. really was MVP in all 3 games there against the Rangers. And yeah, I mean he's brought the Mustangs from 18 to 24 points this week. So, they are I mean currently they are now a playoff team. So, it's still close. It's a close race. They gotta, keep it up these next couple weeks, but they are a top team after that sweep. Getting into the league news. This is a big week for league news. There is a lot going on in transaction history. So we can just talk about it a little bit here. Cyclones. Cyclones had a couple shifts on their team this week. The Cyclones dropped Warshinho to the 2-day waivers. So yeah, Warshinho gonna be dropped. And yeah. Rangers, though, they win the waiver claim for Warshinho, dropping Moose to 2-day waivers. So yeah, Rangers getting Warshinho up. And Warshinho, he's been a great player so far. I mean, Cyclone's a top team. They seem to play Warshinho most games. I feel like I see him on the field, so and he's normally doing good, putting up good stats every game. So yeah, we'll see how he does on the Rangers here. If maybe he can get him that playoff spot. But Astro. Astro signing Kiev Gaming from free agency, dropping On Fire to 2-day waivers. So yeah, Astro picking up Kiev Gaming, former, I believe he was on the Kings before this season. He was there for a couple weeks, and then I think he's played as a sub on a couple teams too. So yeah, It'll be interesting to see how he fits on the Astro team. And yeah, On Fire does retire from the QRLS as a free agent. So On Fire, you know, definitely a goat in the QRLS. So yeah, he'll be retiring, and yeah, the OpSec Shadow. This is a fun one. OpSec Shadow unretiring to the QRLS and is placed on 2-day waivers. So that's a big player to come back. It'll be interesting to see who's maybe picks him up. And then Mustangs winning the waiver claim on Kingsman Toms. So they dropped OX Doc to the 2-day waivers. So yeah, Kingsman Toms going over the Mustangs. And I mean, we've seen Mustangs, they're coming off a sweep this week. I believe they won last week as well. So Mustangs have really been, they went from kind of just like a middle of the road, like average team that would like, they'd win sometimes, but then they'd lose a lot too. These last couple weeks though, they've really come to their own as like getting big wins, and so it seems like they are trying to make this big final push to playoffs. And it'll be interesting to see how Kingsman Toms fits into the squad, see if they can do it. Yeah, nah. Next, we got a couple big shifts on the Speed Demons team. So Speed Demons signed Snooze and Shrill Devotee, both from free agency, dropping Twisty Tripod and Toro, both the 2-day waivers. So yeah, Speed Demons, it seems like they're kind of trying to prepare their team for next season. So this may be a little sneak peek into season 11 Speed Demons roster. Snooze and Shrill Devotee getting picked up. So we'll see what the Speed Demons captain has in store for them. But yeah, Spectres win the waiver claim for Moose. So Moose, as we saw earlier, was dropped for Roshinho by the Rangers. So moving over to Spectres now. And Spectres dropped Redbeard, by the way, for that. So we'll see what happens to Redbeard if anyone ends up picking him up. And yeah, Moose. It'll be interesting to see how Moose fits there. Moose is definitely been doing good on the Rangers. And going over to the Spectres now. That'll be interesting. And then Hammerheads win the waiver claim for Masamoon. So that's a fun one. Masamoon was playing on the Speed Demons. He played for them at least a couple weeks, I know, earlier in this season. And then yeah, just this last week he was or not this last week, the least week before, week 7, he played on the Hammerheads as a sub um for Billy Bob, and or maybe for Throttle. For one of them he played. Um Actually, it was for Throttle, now that I think of it. But yeah, it was he did a great job, I could say. I mean, I'm on the Hammerheads. I think he fits in the squad great. It's nice because he can sub for Billy and Throttle as well. So finally, we're getting our fourth man. The Hammerheads have been a team that has only had 3 people for their whole season so far. So seeming like Masamoon's gonna be their pick for that fourth man going into the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see how he plays on there. I think he'll do good. And yeah, Cyclones though. Cyclones. So we saw them drop Borshinho earlier. Now I got to see who they replaced him with, and it is Charred Totem. They got the waiver claim on him. So Charred Totem is a player we've seen. He's played. I was looking at it earlier. He played at least twice already on the Cyclones as a sub. So clearly he's got some chemistry with these guys. Volteric, captain of Cyclones, clearly likes him playing with him, thinks he fits on the squad as he's gotten him twice. So it'll be, I think it's a great pickup. Um, I always think it's a great idea to like if you get a sub and then the sub fits with with your team well, pick them up. So I think that's a great pick by the Cyclones um, to fill in that space lost by Worshinho. And then last league news for the week is that a waiver claim has been placed on Redbeard. So we don't know who that is yet. Who knows? But Redbeard will be going somewhere. So that'll be fun to see. Redbeard, former Spectres player, dropped for Moose. And yeah, so I'm excited to see where Redbeard goes. That'll be kind of a cliffhanger for the league news this week. We've got to see next week where he goes. But that being said, that is all I have for our show tonight. Yeah, a lot of league news. It'll be interesting to see next 2 weeks. Tune in. We got week 9 games starting back up next week. And yeah, I mean that's all for tonight.